This is the big bubble that's coming and how it's going to impact your money, but you have to see where it's coming from, and it's not just financial. Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the Wealth Transfer. I'm Terry Sacka. So many people ask sometimes when they hear the word wealth transfer, I just want to clarify that wealth transfer isn't prosperity gospel, okay? Wealth transfer goes into the book of Job, Job 27. It's talking about the wealth of the wicked being transferred to that of the innocent. And I contend, as Job 27 talks, that the wicked pile up silver like dust, but now they're piling up currency like dust. Because you see, back in the day, this was always money biblically. But then now the wicked pile up this, and even worse, they're piling up cryptos, which the very word crypt ought to tell you something. Please be aware. Yes, there's money to be made there, but it's a psych warfare on you to get ready for digital money, central bank digital money. So the wealth transfer, our program, is really about getting people prepared with knowledge to get ready for the transfer when these currencies collapse by design. Now, who's doing it by design? We're going to get right into it. There's some really good information today. You're going to want to see it. It's wonderful. Before I get going, I just want to encourage you. We are off all social media. I can't stand them. They're communists. They make me insane. But we're still on YouTube, Wealth Transfer Television. Please go there, subscribe, because we are adding not only our rigged podcast, but we also have little bits of video as well you may want to be a part of, and you can share them. Also encourage you, go to Rigged Against You. You can find that right there at Cornerstone Asset Metals website. Podcast has been doubling in listenership week over week. The word just happens to be the word of the day. Pretty much everything is rigged today. But the design of the podcast is really to help you understand how the system is rigging the system for the power elites against you and me and us, we the people, and how we can tactfully get around that. And that's really the goal. So I want to get right into this, because when we talk about the big bubble, the great reset, the whole concept of what's going on, they're printing trillions and trillions of dollars. Right now, I believe Congress is discussing a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. And then they're talking about, ready for this, giving $3,000 to every single child in $300 a month payments. Not that I'll be applying for, so please don't knock on my door. I don't want your money, even though you steal from us. I don't want anything from the government. But what is happening, folks? They're getting, who's not going to want that? I know a lot of people that have 2, 3 kids, 4 kids. That's a lot of money. What is it going to do? It's going to psychologically make you a slave to the government system. Socialism, communism, Marxism, all the isms that are extremely bad for freedom to we the people. And when I say we the people, I'm really talking about the Christian community. Oh, God bless the secular. We should be preaching to them, but there's some pretty evil people out there. But it's designed to get you to be reliant on the system. It's the most dangerous thing ever proposed. I understand the concept, but believe me, America, we will be in deep trouble if we drink the Kool-Aid of that kind of corruption. The money seems good until you are in shackles, and then you're not going to like it. Until they then tell you you have to do 1, 2, and 3 with your child. You're not going to like it. Now, who's behind all of this, you say? No, it's not just the brilliant mind of Barack Obama, which I contend is brilliant because he outsmarted all the patriots when they completely rigged this election in fraudulent aspects. But he's brilliant. Got to give it to him. They know how to play the game. They know how to set it up. And you know what, whether it's evil or not, whether I call it, antichrist, very evil, it's not the point. They're winning. And I keep hearing from Christians, well, that's just the way it's going to be. We're going to lose in the end, and we're supposed to be persecuted, and John was hung, and this was happening, heads cut off, and boiled in oil, and that's just going to happen to us too. Well, I happen to think a little bit different. I know it's true, but I also think we are here to take a stand, and I think we are here to have power over the enemy, as Jesus said. And our battle's not flesh and blood, but powers and principalities. So that's where a lot of Christians are going wrong, because they're fighting in the flesh when we need to be fighting in the spirit. But who's behind all of this? Who are the Antichrist, which I call really the Luciferians behind it? Take a look at this guy. He's a Yahoo of them all. This Yahoo's name is Klaus. I'm not going to go any more than that. He doesn't deserve it. But he is a major leader in the World Economic Forum. And in Davos 21, the global elites try to rehab the concept of the Great Reset. I just had to pull this title off because it was brilliant. They know it's a problem. They say, we know it sounds like nefarious plan for world domination, but please trust us. And then they put it in a video. Trust us. Right? Come on. When they're talking like that, when they're dangling the $3,000, when they're doing this, believe me, coming behind that will be such an extraordinary amount of intrusion into your freedom, into your sovereignty, into your choices. They're already killing free speech. Social media have proven to be the communists they are. They're already killing anything that breaks the narrative. God forbid you don't get behind the vaccine, even though it's not a vaccine by definition. It breaks the narrative. You see, real definitions don't matter anymore. Real economic definitions don't matter anymore. Real truth doesn't matter. You notice that? Truth is all of a sudden becoming the lie, and the lie is becoming truthful. What does that sound like? We've better get ready. Now, what Klaus and his yahoos over there at the Economic Forum and these major power elites, they're just trying to say, hey, this is a time we have to remake the system. There's something wrong. This whole pandemic that came from an animal, a biolab hazard bioweapon from China. This has given us an opportunity where we can redo this to make it a better world. Just trust us. You know what I mean? We have to get a grip, America, that there is no trust in this. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take an early break because I'm going to show you the details of what this means. Now, this is all part of the bubble because these people are behind the bubble. They've been printing trillions and trillions. The central bank systems are behind it. Because the central bank, no, they're not ready, but China's leading the way, as I just showed, I believe, last program. The central banks are coming in to where they will be a central bank digital currency, and they'll give loans out and take money away at whim. If you become a non-compliant, if you don't toe the rope of the lies, the deceptions, the corruption, the fraud, the molestation, the pedophilia, if you don't toe the line, then you're non-compliant and they're going to just cut you off. And many people think that this is just from the movies, but it's right in front of us, the evidence. So I'm going to show you a list of what they propose, because this is part of the narrative of getting this great reset in place, because the bubble was created to collapse at an astronomical way, to give them the reason to usher it in to fool you. But we're not fooled because we have discernment. So take a look. Take it right back.
The world is at a tipping point. Our fragile food supply is being destroyed by locusts and fires. A global viral pandemic is collapsing the economic supply chain, impacting financial markets all around the world, leaving you and your finances more vulnerable than ever. Now is the time to protect and preserve your assets. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you've worked so hard to gain. Whether you have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, our asset specialists are here to support you. Call now now, and we'll send you urgent information regarding changes to the dollar and the challenges to our economy that you need to be prepared for. Learn how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA. We can even arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or send it directly to your home. Do not delay. Call 888-747-3309 today. That's 888-747-3309. Invest in precious metals and create security in your future today. Call now.
Welcome back. So I do encourage you folks, call Cornerstone, get registered. You may want to get on board. These premiums on the physical metals are very high. The physical metals are disappearing. It's going to be very interesting because price has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the fact that you own it, whether it's in your IRA in a vault or if it's in your home buried somewhere in the backyard. But what does this mean? What are these yahoos saying? Now, just trust us, they say. And anyone the name Klaus already rings my bell because these Europeans, these Belgians and all of them, they're technocrats and they're not elected by people. And they're not good people at all. They're very deep Luciferians. But take a look at the list. This is a little long, so I'm going to say it, but this is incredible stuff. So sit back on this one. This is unbelievable. Listen to this. More than a foil for bigger events and a proxy for more nefarious people, AK, his presence signals that the Great Reset agenda is fully green lit. This agenda has a pretty obvious set of goals, many of them openly admitting in the World Economic Forum, and some of them strongly implied by the extreme political left in the media. And they include perpetual pandemic lockdowns, economic controls until the population submits to medical tyranny. Number 2, medical passports and contact tracing as a part of everyday life. Number 3, the censorship and deplatforming of all the voices that oppose the agenda. You're hearing that, right? Number 4, greatly reduce economic activity in the name of stopping climate change. Number 5, greatly increase poverty and the loss of private property. Number 6, the introduction of universal basic income, in which the government becomes then all-powerful welfare provider and nursemaid to a generation of dependent and desperate people. Number 7, a cashless society and digital currency system where privacy and trade is completely erased, except for the elites, of course. Number 8, creation of a shared economy in which no one will own anything and independent production is outlawed. Communism. Number 9, the deletion of national borders and the end of sovereignty and self-determination. Number 10, the centralization of global political power into the hands of a select few elites. That is creepy. What's creepy about it is if you notice out of those 10 points, half of them are actually actively being employed right now. And who was pushing for the one where the basic income, besides AOC in New York? Mitt Romney, who's supposedly a Republican. You see, it's all spiritual, folks. These people are evil. And I get the idea because there is a problem in our society and in the world. We are breaking down in the ability to produce and have jobs because we're spreading it out all over the world and we're destroying a sovereign nation's ability to produce. So what do we do to the people? What do we do? And I can get that. I really do. I think it's tragic. I just know the amount of freedom we're going to give up and the tyranny that's going to come upon us. So you see, it's about the censorship and the concept. But see, all this is completely anti-American. And anybody who believes it, they're either really super evil or just really, really ignorant, which is just ignoring the truth. Especially if you're wrapped into social media. You're brainwashed because you're able to get snippets of ideas, but they're not based off of any facts. The truth shall set you free. Nothing shall be hidden. Everything comes to the light. You can't do that if it's censorship, right? So you see, there's a real problem with this concept because they're creating a bubble. They're creating a magnitude bubble economically so they can allow it to collapse on us. Now, who knows that this is coming? Well, take a look at this and you'll find out. Well, the U.S. Mint knows because total gold Eagle sales from 2018 to 2020 versus January 25th of this year, look at that astronomical change. From an average of 50,000 ounces, 60,000 ounces to 200,000 ounces, that really puts it in perspective. Now, here's another image of that. U.S. Mint total Eagle sales from 2021 versus 2009 to 2020, mind you. This is all this time we've had the rally. Look at the difference in 1 year in demand for gold over all of the last 10 years. Wow. Now, people know this. I say we the people know it. That's why they're doing it. People that are seeing what these elitists are trying to do and destroy not just our nation, but the world to get us ready for what they call the one world order, which I call the Fourth Reich. And if you do your homework, you'll understand that that's very real, because all that really means is National Socialist order, and they do want it centralized by technocrats, people that are not elected, people that are evil to the core, probably pedophiles and Satan ritual type people. I mean, it's insane how evil these people are. But in America, we were always sheltered from that. We knew it was there, but we didn't really pay attention because we still kind of had our Ozzie Harriet lifestyle. Well, that's changed completely, as you're seeing. Now wait till they start bringing in refugees from around the world, dumping them into small towns, completely destroying the harmony through chaos. And they're saying it's compassionate. It's not compassionate to drop some jihad off in some small town. It's just there's zero compassion there. You're talking oil and water. You're talking a rabbit to a lion. I mean, it doesn't make sense. There is no compassion there. Put them in a big city where everyone's blending together, fine. So people see it. They know it's coming. That's why they're buying these types of tangible assets, because it's real wealth. It doesn't matter what the price is. It's because it's a storage of value over time and will produce that. So how do they know going forward? Now that the election's over, how do people know going forward that this is coming, or they're feeling more comfortable that the dollar is going to be destroyed, inflation's on its way? Well, take a look at this great headline. Now, beyond the fact that he signed like 60 executive orders like a tyrant king, the headline is Biden is following in the same economic footsteps as Jimmy Carter. Inflation, here we come. Look at the image. There's Biden right there. Look at that face. Standing with Jimmy Carter. When Jimmy Carter came in, the power inflation was 5%. By the time Jimmy Carter left, inflation doubled to 13%. And Joe Biden appears to be going down the same track. Now, it's not just the executive orders, it's the money printing that they're going to do. They're going to print literally trillions to bail out the blue cities and the blue states that tyrannically destroyed their people's lives. And so they didn't get the tax money from it, and this is why. They're going down the exact same path by design. That's why they're destroying jobs. That's why they're destroying economics in certain regions of the country. They're getting people ready to become a slave dependent on a state-ran welfare system. And it's just the way it is. It's the timing of it. I don't even believe Joe Biden even knows what he's doing. I really think the handlers, which would be mainly Susan Rice, is the one mainly behind it. These people are brilliant, man. I just got to give it to them. Not that I agree. But how do we know that they're in the same place as Jimmy Carter was when this whole thing started? Because remember, Jimmy Carter started when this new dollar came in, you see? That's the difference. This is when it started. How convenient it will be a Democrat when it started to be a Democrat when it ends. That's pretty interesting. But take a look at this. This is money supply, and this is why we know the inflation is going to rage, your buying power is going to drop, and why precious metals are so important. This is just a straight up image of the M2 money supply in the billions, which as you can see has now reached trillions. And look at the escalation of money supply in the last 10, 15 years. That's what we have to pay attention to. That's what we need to notice, because what's coming will be a complete erosion of our currency system. They're creating these ultimate bubbles through all of this money printing. And they're doing it because they need to blow out the last remnant of this, our jobs, our middle class, our freedom, our society, in order to usher in the Great Reset concept, which is total world control, tyranny, A lot of people in the kingdom, I'm speaking to the ministries on this one. They're talking now about the Great Reset. We've been talking about this for years. And people said we were insane, and now they realize it's here. They're talking about it, but they're not talking about the solution, and they're not talking about what's going on right now that's setting the condition for why this is coming. That's what we do here at Rigged Against You and Wealth Transfer. So why do we know it's happening? I'm going to get to you and show it to you right after this break. Be right back.
The world is at a tipping point. Our fragile food supply is being destroyed by locusts and fires. A global viral pandemic is collapsing the economic supply chain, impacting financial markets all around the world, leaving you and your finances more vulnerable than ever. Now is the time to protect and preserve your assets. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you've worked so hard to gain. Whether you have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, our asset specialists are here to support you. Call now and we'll send you urgent information regarding changes to the dollar and the challenges to our economy that you need to be prepared for. Learn how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA. We can even arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or send it directly to your home. Do not delay. Call 888-747-3309 today. That's 888-747-3309. Invest in precious metals and create security in your future today. Call now.
Now, this just happens to be the U.S. 10-year Treasury note. And as you can see, going back to 1980, how high it used to pay in interest to where we're at today at near zero to negative. Now, what you have to understand, well, most of you do, because in this audience, most of you are definitely nearing retirement, or you're used to the concept of bonds, or you hear the term bonds. So the price of bonds are higher right now because these rates are so low. But that's extremely unhealthy. And a lot of people think that they could just raise the rates when things turn around, but they can't because we're in too much debt. This cycle's over. They're going to keep printing money. These rates are going to go negative. This is the bubble of bubbles. When I talk about bubble, that bond market is going to absolutely implode because we're broke. Or a lot of our nations in the West are broke. We're insolvent. Just about every bank you're talking to is insolvent, folks. They just are. They're leveraged 25 or 40 to 1. So every dollar that comes into the bank, they loan out 30. It's insolvent. They're not there. If you go to get your money, it's not there. So the bubble, not just in the bond market, but in the stock market, but these interest rates are really important because we're going negative soon. And people don't understand the concept of it except that it's this. If you buy a bond that's supposed to at maturity give you $10,000, but instead it gives you $9,000, you lose money. Why are you buying the bond? Or if you put this in a bank, and this is coming, when you put this in a bank and it sits there, they normally paid you interest, but they don't anymore. But that's how they got away from it, folks, because remember, when this is sitting in a bank, it's not your money. That's called an unsecured creditor, meaning you just gave the bank a loan. So when you put this in a bank, you've given them a loan, and they have an obligation to pay you back. So instead, if you put $1,000 in the bank, if you don't spend it, next month will probably be $950 because they're going to tax you. They're going to put fees on you because of the negative interest rate, and they're going to force you to spend your money. That's the whole idea of central bank digital currency. Force you to spend your money when they need it and force you not to spend your money when they don't want you to. I mean, talk about lack of freedom, right? So these interest rates are really important because it helps you visualize the end of a cycle. This is the bubble of all bubbles. Within the bond market, the stock market, the debt cycle, and yes, there may be a little bump into the market system because the trillions of money's being printed and money's on the sidelines that'll go into the system. But I contend there's going to be something very different happening, and it's not going to be healthy. There won't be this massive boom, this economic opportunity, and everybody's going to be blessed. Not even close, because it's not part of the plan. They need more misery. They're going to need the virus to mutate into another magical virus that you can't even see, that doesn't even exist. But just because they tell you it exists, it does, right? Then they're going to put all these tyrannical mandates on you more and more and more. You'll see. So it's important that we position ourselves for those who have it. For those that are older, it's for your standard of living for the future. It's for your inheritance to your children's children. We have people that call up and they're buying this stuff and they're saying, it's not really for me. It's going to be for my children or grandchildren because they're not really born again and they're going to need it. And for people who don't think that this is going to be money in the end times, you're kidding yourself, because you're either going to get, the stamp, the chip, or you're going to have an underground currency. And there's always, it has to be something of value. So interest rates are paramount to this. And we can go back really far in interest rates to take a look at that. And let's do that. Let's take one more look at this before we go. This is kind of hard to read, but I'm just going to kind of paraphrase for you. This goes all the way back to the 1400s on the left, where the Dutch started a perpetual bond movement. And then, of course, things collapse down to zero, and then they collapse. They lose control. Then the United Kingdom comes in, and they start the perpetual bond movement through the 1700s, 1800s. And then the Dutch collapse, and then the English come in, and then the 1900s. And then the English and the United States start coming in. Then, as you can see now on the right side, the boom of 1970s became the blunt of the 80s. It's the bust of it. Because now, if you look on the right side, we're right down at the bottom to zero. It's getting ready to blow up, like every nation, every reserve currency, all through history. It can't retrace itself, not with these conditions. And here's one more indicator for those who actually believe in Warren Buffett. Take a look. This goes back to 1990. The red line at the top is an extreme bubble. The bottom green is opportunity. And as you can see, in 2000, we hit extreme bubble. We collapsed. We had a great opportunity at the 08 collapse. Look where we're at today, way above at 80 percentile on the extreme overbought value of the system, meaning it's gone. Meaning we are in such high levels of bubble territory, it's setting up exactly what the power elite need, and that's our desperation. So we say, thank you, Heavenly Father, for the power of Jesus Christ in our life, that we may be set free. Stay focused. We'll see you next week.
The world is at a tipping point. Our fragile food supply is being destroyed by locusts and fires. A global viral pandemic is collapsing the economic supply chain, impacting financial markets all around the world, leaving you and your finances more vulnerable than ever. Now is the time to protect and preserve your assets. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you've worked so hard to gain. Whether you have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, our asset specialists are here to support you. Call now and we'll send you urgent information regarding changes to the dollar and the challenges to our economy that you need to be prepared for. Learn how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA. We can even arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or send it directly to your home. Do not delay. Call 888-747-3309 today. That's 888-747-3309. Invest in precious metals and create security in your future today. Call now.